My name is Vincenzo Latronico, and I'm about to read an excerpt from my novel Perfection. I hope this take is the good one. Anna and Tom were creative professionals, a term even they found vague and jarring. Their exact titles varied depending on the job, but they were always in English, even in their native language. Web developer, graphic designer, online brand strategist. What they created were differences. They hadn't actively chosen that line of work. It had formed out of their passions more or less at the same time that the internet, their teenage obsession, crystallized into an industry destined to subsume all others. They got into music just as online piracy prompted the rise of peer-to-peer social networks. At the end of the school day, their long afternoons would be spent jumping between history and maths homework and Photoshop and Flash, feeling their way blindly through bugs and mistakes as they tried to improve their Gel Cities site. They would spend hours building personal websites and profiles that reflected their tastes and interests, lists of things that made them special. This passion of theirs wasn't learned. It was a natural consequence of the context in which they had grown up. The web at the time was chaotic and surprising, its elusive resources the stuff of legend. Social media didn't exist yet, and indexing was done manually. An interesting web page or a repository of hacks were prized discoveries, a sign of good taste and expertise. Anna and Tom would fill whole pages with them, using sprites and animated GIFs to embellish them, constantly updating links to new pages and embedding visitor counters and animated drop-down menus using JavaScript. If a design feature caught their eye, they would just download the code and add it to their site. The internet came of age with them. Like their own entrance into adulthood, it didn't happen overnight, but gradually, in a way that only seemed inevitable after the fact. There must have been a precise moment when knowing their way around Dreamweaver no longer constituted a hobby, but a professional qualification. Just as there must have been a first time they logged onto a website using their real names, instead of some vaguely Anglo-American sounding pseudonyms. They had started paying Social Security the same year in which, after a long wait, they were finally able to join Facebook. Ever since Anna and Tom first started using computers, there was always someone calling in a favor, to format a hard drive, to work on the school newspaper homepage, or a friend of the family's jewelry website. Slowly but surely, the favors turned into gigs. An uncle's e-commerce, business cards, posters, banners, menus. And before long, that assortment of gigs had coalesced into a real job. And a sought-after job at that. Anna and Tom had grown up with the notion that individuality manifested itself as a set of visual differences, immediately decodable and in constant need of updating. They were well prepared by the time the demand to express what makes each person special had spread from teenage online profiles to brands, companies, shops, and professionals all over the world. Everyone wanted a website, a logo, or a graphic. Everyone sought a little beauty, a unique point within a coordinate system of differences. Anna and Tom understood this need instinctively. In a way, it was also the reason they had moved to Berlin. After graduating and starting out in their careers, life in a large but peripheral Southern European city soon started to feel dull, tedious. It seemed to run on a fixed set of tracks, the same old neighborhoods, the same summer spots, the same friends they'd had since school. The music scene, the decor in the restaurants and bars, and even their clients' tastes had something provincial, outdated about them. The cliques were hotbeds of gossip. Conformist attitudes fostered what Anna and Tom felt to be stifling expectations. And among those people who never changed, who were content to hang out in the same sets they belonged to at school, Anna and Tom weren't free to be themselves. That is, they weren't free to reinvent themselves.